Alright, hello there and welcome back to Forza Horizon 5. And we are launching Bentleys. Or at least trying to. Let's see. Oh, we managed. Good. So that should give us some stars. Now, the reason for this, and we hope that we're doing this with the correct car, is the treasure clue. It mentions something about wings for a logo and getting 10 of something, like 10 stars. So I don't know how many times I would need to do this to get 10 stars on this danger sign. We should be getting 1 or 2 stars per jump, I think. I didn't actually check. Crunch, 462. We're pretty consistent with this so far. We'll go for a couple more times and then see whether or not it unlocks for us, or whether or not we need a different Bentley. It did show an older Bentley, one of the classics, in the picture, so we may need a specific one, which would be rather annoying if we do. And hopefully the last one, unless we're only getting 1 star each time and we have to do it 10 times, which wouldn't surprise me honestly. There we go, treasure challenge complete. Now, where do we have to go? Seems we just need to fish ourselves out of the river and drive into town. Now, I'm fairly sure there's been one here before, but I can't remember where it was. Ah, right here, in fact. There we go, right by the town square. 100 Forza points. Nice. That'll help me buy fancy cars, hopefully. And now onto the racing. Onto Event Lab Island, in fact. And it seems we only have 2 opponents. That's odd. Okay, and this seems to be a very short track as well. This might go quite quickly given that it's an S2 Extreme Track car category. And we can cut corners an awful lot there, it seems, given that the checkpoint was only up on the next straight. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, well, into the docks. I think the AI is getting rather confused, and honestly so am I, but it's not a bad track, it seems. A little bit of practice, and I think this could be quite fun. It honestly just makes me think of a slot car track. It's these bits here where they don't actually look like the road that really throws me off. And let's just smash through a bunch of stuff, go up here, and then yeah, as soon as we see it open up to the left, we can just kind of cut through the gas station at the end there and just blatantly cut the corner. Because there's nothing stopping us after a certain point, and the checkpoint isn't until the end. That's why I usually put checkpoints on the corners to force people to actually go through them. That's alright. I don't mind. I'll take whatever advantage that I can. This is just a nice, quick... Whoops. Okay. Gotta be careful cutting that one. There's a pile of rubble, apparently. Now, this is just a quick lap before we move on to the next event. Be nice if I could use the same vehicle for more races. This is the only one that I'll be using this for, looked like. I think the championships use something completely different. The other Event Lab one uses another completely different car. I enjoyed last time, Final Retro Wave season, I was able to use the same vehicle, like the M1 I used for a lot of them. Jumping between lots of different cars all the time is kind of annoying, and certainly makes it difficult to feel like you're getting acclimatized. We barely missed getting sideswiped by the other car coming through there. That's the danger in these tracks that cross over each other. We're also almost lapping someone. It's kind of weird they even bothered with opponents in this, to be perfectly honest. The AI often doesn't cope well with things with jumps and drops and all sorts of things. Hell, I don't cope very well with them all the time. Zoom, he goes past just before we did. And yeah, the ones where you cross over, always just dangerous. Well, at the end of that short, sharp sprint, here we go, less than 3 minutes to do 4 laps. And this is what I mean about jumping between different cars and how annoying it can be. This is the standalone event lab race. Apparently involves a lot of fireworks. And we've gone from being in an S2 Aston go-kart to a B-level Nissan, which doesn't corner very well. We just embedded ourselves into that wall because we could not stop in time. We're going to lean on him instead. Oh wow, this thing does not corner. I'm in trouble. What the hell? We've got traction control on and ABS. This is concerning. Okay, you know what? I think I might just have to not use this car. I'm just going to have to straight up quit this event and start over again, I think. Here was I thinking that this is a custom, like, Nismo vehicle that is apparently legendary rarity. And I guess it's just a good lesson in how rare is not better. Okay. I kid you not, this thing is just going nowhere. It is. Is this fitted for drifting? I bet it is. This must have like drift tires and everything. It's expecting me to want to just go sideways around every corner. Alright. Well, this is what the vehicle is. Enjoy it while I'm in it, because I'm not going to be for much longer. I don't do that very often. Normally I'll just try and just make it work with whatever vehicle, but that one is not designed for racing at all. Right, let's try this again with a slightly different vehicle. A lower spec GTR, a similar vintage. Let's see whether or not this one actually lets me steer or not. It's not getting off to quite as fast a start, but that's fine. Now we're going to have to over-brake for this anyway, because it's a very sharp bend. Way sharper than it really should be. I really don't like corners like that. Okay, we're not sliding over the place quite as much. This road surface still is not very forgiving though. We're going to have to be quite careful. We've got traction control on again, and I'm really glad I do, because otherwise this would not be doing well. That said, I'm wanting to go around these corners a lot faster than I should, probably because, like I was saying before, I just stepped out of an S2 that was super fast and super nimble. So it is one hell of a whiplash to then jump into this where we're having to just go really slowly around these corners and barely get the power on and just take it super easy. We just got to pay attention to what those in front of us are doing. Those fireworks coming out of the ground are really disconcerting and very random. Not quite sure I get the point with those. Should also pay attention to whether or not there's actually a checkpoint around here, because it looked like there was a shortcut. It seriously looked like there was a shortcut from up above, which is kind of amusing. We do need to win as well, ideally, and I'm still stuck not really catching up to these guys because of how carefully I'm having to take these corners. I can't take a shortcut at that point, even though there's a very open area. It's very inviting, but there are checkpoints either side of it. Can we catch up a little bit? Sort of. Only one left. Alright. If I really feel like it, I could always get a little bit argy-bargy and just push them off. But up here, it looked... I mean, I can always rewind, right? There's a gap there. Okay. Well, that didn't work. Let's rewind. Because I'm going to see if I can be crafty with their level design here. There's a gap in the barrier there. Let's brake. And just go over here? Is there a drop? Ooh, no, we're the wrong side of the barrier if we do that. That's annoying. There is another bit off to the right further. I don't know, this is probably not worth it. Fairly sure. I tried. Oh, this kind of works, actually. It does kind of work. It wasn't great, but it did get us in front. That's stupid. I don't know if they intended that. I'm not sure if they were wanting to turn this into a Mario Kart level. There's definitely that inviting gap off to the right there that you're not allowed to take because there are checkpoints. But you can just shortcut that first big twist by just jumping off the bridge, it seems. It's kind of funny. I mean, we're in front. We'll just take it easy. Make sure that we get through the checkpoints and get out of here. This isn't a terribly done map, but it is a bit weird, and the surface is really not very nice to drive on, so I'm glad that that's finished. Alright, and the whiplash continues because we have gone from our B-rank Nissan into an S1 Camaro that is being overtaken by everything because, once again, our launch control does not like our traction control, it seems. So, go figure. But never mind. Now, I am hoping with this that I'm able to work my way through the field and do well enough in this car that I'm not too dissatisfied by it, because I want to use it for the next championship as well. This particular championship called for an S1 Camaro specifically, of which there are a few available. I did have one other that I could have used instead. It wasn't this particular like special type, but this special one is considered a track toy, and the next championship requires specifically S1 track toys. I've got a few others of those, including an Aston that I've used to good effect in many other videos. But if I can use the same car for multiple championships, it's always nice within the same series, or season at least. I might have to do a little bit of tuning on this though. This was only about 846, so I've got quite a lot of overhead for doing some tuning, and it still stays within the S1 range. But I think it could definitely do with some handling improvements, and at the very least braking, I think. I was able to, well, I dropped the tyre pressures for one, because I could see that the surface was a bit greasy, and I'm glad I did, because up here, this is actually a dirt section. Even though it's a road race, technically, this part of the track is basically off-road. So this car then does not want to stop and does not want to turn. So I've dropped the tyre pressures to at least give it a little bit of a chance, but we're still only barely staying in touch. And I think the problem is that we've overtaken the other vehicles that were the same type as what we're racing in, I believe. These others are the ones that I had the opportunity to use instead, I think. And I suspect this one has some, like, slicks of some description. At the very least, like, semi-slicks, just by default. Which means that on the loose surface, it is struggling. Loose and wet surfaces. It does not do well. So we are really having to fight to get up with these guys. We need to at least place third, I feel, to have a hope in the rest of the championship. That's generally our goal. If I can get higher, great. I'm going to have to definitely cut some corners though, and just try and get through as much as we can on this road section before we hit the dirt. And that's just up here. If we can dive through there. Okay, that gets us into third. Now we just need to hold on to this. Stay right behind these guys, hopefully. Yeah, they are definitely getting more grip through this section. And I think it's the tyres. I was able to tune some of the suspension, so I suspect that this has, like, race shocks by default as well. Okay, we're onto the road surface again, so now we can hopefully start to catch up again. But they definitely got the advantage out of that last stretch. And they're even pulling away a bit here, I think just largely because they were able to accelerate out of that final corner better. But we're just going to cut corners however we can. We're going to try and take them around the inside here. There we go. Now we just need to hold on to our lead, which we should be able to do. Keep power on a little bit through here. There we go. That was harder than it looked. Alright, and we're on to the next race, where I've done a little bit of tuning, and some painting, as you may have noticed. This is now a bit more Bumblebee. And we've done a little bit more tuning. Haven't done much in the way of the power, but I have given it some off-road tyres because I recognise this was actually a dirt race after all. It was just more of a mixed surface one on the last. This one is much more, this particular track is much more off-road focused once we get to this point. And we've got these water traps through here. I've tweaked the suspension to be a little bit more off-road-esque. Honestly, doesn't seem to be helping that much at this point. And we just keep getting bogged down in the water regardless. We've got to be careful to try and hit the outsides of the water. And we're missing checkpoints, it seems. I thought I managed to slide through that one, but obviously not. What the hell's that thing at the back of that car? I don't know what's going on there. Okay, slid through the edge of that checkpoint. We've just got to try and cut the corners as much as we can, because it seems like that is doing more for us than our upgrades. Oh, that was a terrible corner through there. Now, if we want to go wide here to try and not go through as much water, that worked okay. This one, we don't have much choice. We then end up on a pretty bad line for that, but then we can go through there. Stay a bit more wide here. We still feel like we're not really getting enough power down. And I definitely feel like I'm bogging down way too much in the water. But yeah, no surprises there. And our off-road tyres didn't really do as much as I would have liked, it must be said. I was really hoping that we'd be more at the front of the pack at that point. Now, either these guys also have off-road tyres, but they were just able to get through that road section even faster than me, or they have road tyres and somehow... I thought I'd probably cut that one too much, yeah. These guys have possibly road tyres, but are somehow magically able to do better through the off-road sections than I am. And they're also just getting better lines, which doesn't help, but I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to catch up and yet also go slower through the corners like they seemed to be suggesting. Okay, we're pulling it together a little bit, alright. Now this guy's body blocking, of course, and not getting bogged down as much as I would have liked there. Last corner up here, okay. Second is fine, but if we can just push this guy off the road, then that's even better. Yep, just like that. And can we hold them off on the final straight? Probably not. But maybe, just maybe, we've got the better line through here. But they are just faster than us on the road surface, it seemed. So, but we're managing to hold on. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Oh, edged it by her nose, I think. Whew, I had to work hard for that one, I feel. Hopefully we won't have to work as hard on this one. I probably should have taken the off-road race tyres off. This one isn't in the jungle, so I probably didn't need them as much. That might hurt me a bit more on these sections. Not sure. The thing that hurts me the most is just not being able to get off the line very well, but never mind. That's a perpetual problem. Okay, now we've got this section. It's another sprint. I was kind of hoping for another lap race instead. So I feel I have a better chance of just learning the corners as I go and catching up on those. Also the glare in this one is a bit bad, so let's go into mullet view. It's a bit juddery, but that's fine. Once again, those two up the front have just zoomed off ahead. I'm not quite sure how they do it, but I'm not sure if there's a way that you can like inspect other cars. You can see what they're racing in, but I don't think you can inspect their upgrades or tuning. It'd be nice if you could, because I feel that would be interesting to know. Because I want to know how these dudes are just zooming off ahead so well, given that I'm fairly sure at least one of them is the same car as me. But apparently is just, see that, just way off ahead. Where has their tuning gone is what I want to know. Because if it's based on the dirt racing, then they should not be doing as well at the road sections. If it's based on the road racing, they shouldn't be doing as well at these dirt sections. I mean, it helps that they started at the front, so they've not had to deal with the others through the corners or anything like I did. But it's still just absurd that they are that far ahead, that they have just run away with it, seemingly. I'm going to be interested to actually see what vehicles they were, because I'm fairly sure they're the same as me. I'm also fairly sure that it doesn't matter. I should be able to come third and still win the championship, because we did work really hard on those first two races. But I'm, yeah, perpetually confused when you get these cases where I really tried to put some thought into the tuning. And don't think I'm racing too badly, you know. Well enough to get ahead of everyone else and pull out a lead against everyone else. But these two are just seemingly in a class of their own, even though we're all meant to be in the same vehicle, more or less. So I'm not quite sure where they get off in going so damn fast. But never mind. I just missed that checkpoint entirely, didn't I? Yeah. Well, we almost caught up near the end, but it just wasn't enough. They had way too much of a lead. Did I miss the checkpoint again? No, not quite. Yeah, they had so much of a lead. Oh well, again, third should be fine for the championship. Okay, one of them was in an 857 Exorcist, which is absurd. The other was in the same vehicle, but an 824 tuning, which is interesting. So, again, I really wish I could see what their tuning was. But, thankfully, we still had enough points to come first in the championship. Alright, now we're on to the last championship that we should be having to do, and we're back on tarmac. So, hopefully, there won't be quite as many issues with people zooming off unexplainably ahead on the loose surfaces. It does seem to be a hallmark of the dirt and cross-country races especially, where people will just go unexplainably way off into the distance to start with. Did break way too much for that corner back there, it seems, but this is a pretty quick sprint race. We've got 3 laps. We're pretty familiar with this particular track. Gotta remember that I am rear wheel drive though, so it might try and slide out a bit too much at various points. I could have probably put on a bit more power tuning as well, but all I really did was swap out our off-road tyres for some full slicks instead of the semi-slicks that this started with. I didn't change the suspension again, so this is still kind of soft suspension. Oh well. Never mind, hopefully it doesn't matter too much. Our aero is also still set more for cornering than speed. Maybe that's a good thing though through some of these sections. We'll see how we get on. We certainly seem to be cornering much better than some. Not just because we're cutting corners. I hate when I get stuck to someone's bumper though. That's really annoying. Oh, I didn't change to a race differential either, it's still got the rally diff. I was just trying to think about what else I should have changed in the upgrades, but never mind. The main thing is the tyres. Oh, and the wheels. I changed the actual wheels themselves to a lighter one. I left them heavy for the off-road section because you want a more weight to get more grip. But you do want more weight reduction when it comes to road racing. So, those were the changes we made, and those have definitely put us in good stead on this particular race, it seems. Managed to just get in front of that guy. And now we've just got to hold it together for the final sections. It's mostly this corner right here that we need to just try and turn in, stay wide, and then we get a good entrance onto the final bend. And across the line. See, now that is much more how I expect it to go. And on to race number 2 of this championship, which hopefully will go just as smoothly as the last one did. Got a sprint down through the desert. Going to be racing right into the sun, which is not going to be fun. So we're going to leave it on the bonnet cam, I think. But it is a really nice environment. And we go. Slowly working our way through the pack again. What the hell is that one off to the right there? White one's very wide. Got them birthing hips, jeez. And I'm not sure what that is. Classic Porsche? No, it doesn't look like Porsche. Do get a lot more of a motley assortment of vehicles in this race, it seems. But, that was a terrible corner. The fact that he managed to get on the inside there is really annoying. I should really have... Yeah, I'm going to take it past this corner because that one didn't go very well at all. I needed to just dab the brakes and then, yeah, there we go, dive on the inside. Much better. And now we can brake more for this one. And we're much closer to these two. The difference one corner can make. Where did you come from? It's like a Lotus or something, just zoomed right up next to me. That's absurd. I guess he can just stick to the road around the corners, it seems. That feels like more of an extreme track toy car, not just a track toy. I mean, I don't even know how a Chevy Camaro is really considered to be a track toy. But to the same length that a Porsche or an Aston Martin is. But the extreme track toys to me is the likes of your Radicals and the Lotuses that are just engineered pretty much for only using on a track that they are not road legal in any way. Managed to play chicken for that apex there, that Porsche. And work our way back uphill again. This corner is always the bane of my existence on this track, but we managed to navigate that adequately at least. I don't know where that little Lotus has gone, it seems to have just completely disappeared. Assuming that's what it was, I don't know, I just saw green in something that looked like it belonged on a track. The Porsche is doing very well to keep up with us. But not well enough, and that'll be race number 2 in the bag. And last but not least, race number 3 at the festival grounds. We've got the festival circuit. 3 laps with the crowds cheering us on. See how we go. I haven't actually done this race or this track in quite a while, I feel. Feels like it's been a while. I don't really remember it. So we kind of raced round the outside first and then loop ourselves around to come back through the starting line again. Well, with 2 wins under my belt, I can make do with just a 3rd place if I need to. But we're never going to be happy with that. We're going to see if we can get all the way. If we don't get pushed into a wall. Someone has just like got their car is whining. I can hear it in my left ear. It's probably that Lotus again. We certainly aren't struggling nearly as much on these tracks for this championship as we were in the last one. I think the moral of the story really is cars that are made for racing on the road are better for racing on the road. That is a really cool paint job ahead of us. I like it. Sorry, distracted. Like the fact that they had us choose Camaros, S1 rated Camaros that is, for dirt racing was always absurd, and the human player in that component is always going to suffer more than the AI, no matter what difficulty you've got them set to. Just gonna... Oh, it's a Horizon Retrowave paint job. Nice! Wrong season, dude, but still, I appreciate it. I'm not sure we're going to be able to catch this guy, to be perfectly honest. He's doing really well through these corners, and I'm not going badly, I don't think. Certainly could be better, but okay, never mind. He didn't do that one nearly as well. I just kept my foot in it, and we managed to get through that corner just fine. What was I talking about? Ah yes, it's the fact that we had a dirt championship and we were choosing like late model, highly tuned Camaros to do it. It's like, yeah, that's just ludicrous. And yeah, the AIs are always just going to get away with it, and the human player is always going to struggle in that situation, I feel. Unless you do some really wonky tuning that's probably counterintuitive just specifically around that event. Whereas then you put the same vehicle in the mix against others of the same category on the road, where we can actually use it to its proper potential, and funnily enough, we perform much more to our normal expectations. At least it wasn't cross-country, I guess. And that will do it for the season. We have our Porsche Mission R, and we didn't even need to do all of the daily challenges, or indeed the rivals that I was originally going to do to get a free 8 points. I thought, you know what, I'll stick to doing the championships, and that worked out in the end. I'll do the rest offline, I suspect. And then we've got Autumn to look forward to, where we get an Ioniq 5. Looks more like a box on wheels, but that's fine. And then a Nissan Z23, another Nissan Z. I've got a few of those already, I think. And then we need a 2020 Toyota GR Supra for the weekly challenge. Now, I wonder where that comes from. Does it come from the shop? Do we win it in anything? Or were we meant to have won that in, like, the trial this time around? Nope, that gave us a Camaro 17, which I guess we were meant to use for the challenge we just did. Nope, we're just meant to own the Toyota already, I think. Well, we'll find out. For now, that will do. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.